But Nick, listen. I've organised something else for you. I think this girlfriend of yours wants to have you back again." "Girlfriend?" exclaimed Gwyneth and Wanda at the same time. "Yes," continued Timothy, unaware of the danger in the words he spoke. "Jemima Madison, the boss's daughter." "Why didn't you say anything about her before, Nick? She's very pretty, but, well, she's—" Wanda turned without a word and went quickly upstairs, followed by Gwyneth, who gave Nick a furious look as she walked away. "Wait!" shouted Nick after them. "I can explain everything." "Oh, isn't that just what men always say?" shouted Gwyneth back downstairs. "I've written that stupid line about 12 times in my books." Oh dear, is Nick's romance with Wanda about to end before it even gets going? This is James Schofield, the creator of the podcast Behind the Bottom Line, and the writer of Season 5's story, Double Trouble. This is Episode 8, and let's just recap what's happened so far. Tim has come up with a brilliant idea for a TV commercial. To make it work, he has to bring his brother, Nick, up to London from the family farm in Devon, together with Lady Lois, his prize goat. This is not as easy as it sounds, as the farm is still surrounded by floodwater and it's all going to take a lot of organisation. But with Tim's talent for saying the wrong thing to the wrong person at the wrong time, what could possibly go wrong as he telephones the farm to tell everybody what they have to do? So, let's go and join Gwyneth, Wanda, Nick and Tim as they take part in a rather embarrassing phone call. Chapter 15. London Calling. Gwyneth, Wanda and Nick stood around the red telephone in the hall, and Nick dialed his number in London. It was engaged. "Who on earth is Tim talking to?" asked Gwyneth. "He doesn't know anybody in London, does he?" It's probably Louis Madison," answered Nick. "He often rings me at home." After half an hour, they finally got a ringtone. Nick held the receiver in the middle of the group so everybody could hear. Timothy picked up the phone in London and said firmly, "Look, Jemima, I can't talk any longer. I need to speak to my brother." "Tim? Tim, it's me, Gwyneth and Wanda," said Nick, surprised. "Really? Oh, thank goodness. I needed an hour to get rid of Jemima, and I thought this call was her calling back again." "Nick, you've no idea what—" Tim, great to hear you again," interrupted Nick hurriedly before Timothy said too much about Jemima. "What's happening in London? Am I fired?" "Of course not. I've done a very good job for you," said Timothy proudly. He explained about everything that had happened to him and his new proposal for the Spazio commercial. Nick, Gwyneth and Wanda were amazed. The idea of Timothy becoming an advertising genius was nearly unbelievable. "And so I'll be organising the film crew here with Carla and Hassan on Wednesday and Thursday. Straight after milking the goats on Friday morning, make sure Lady Lois is ready to come up to London with the rescue team. The boat might be a problem, but if you're patient and polite, it should be possible to get her in it." "She really is a clever goat," said Nick fondly. This time it was Timothy's turn to be amazed. After a slight pause, he continued, "Right. So, make sure you bring lots of carrots for her. Who's travelling up with Nick? I'll need somebody here to help me with Lady Lois." "You go," said Gwyneth to Wanda. "Try to make sure Tim doesn't get hit by anybody else. By the way, how's your nose, Tim?" "Oh, don't worry. It's fine." "But Nick, listen. I've organised something else for you. I think this girlfriend of yours wants to have you back again." Girlfriend? Exclaimed Gwyneth and Wanda at the same time. Yes, continued Timothy, unaware of the danger in the words he spoke. Jemima Madison, the boss's daughter. Why didn't you say anything about her before, Nick? She's very pretty, but, well, she's... Wanda turned without a word and went quickly upstairs, followed by Gwyneth, who gave Nick a furious look as she walked away. Wait! Shouted Nick after them. I can explain everything. Oh, isn't that just what men always say? Shouted Gwyneth back downstairs. I've written that stupid line about 12 times in my books. And please, while you're on the phone to my husband, ask him to explain what exactly he's been doing with your girlfriend to persuade her to have you back. A bedroom door slammed shut upstairs. Hello? Hello? Said Timothy's voice from the receiver. What's the matter? Nick, are you there? What's happened? I heard lots of shouting. Tim, I'll have to call you back, okay? Answered Nick. I have a difficult situation to deal with here. It took 2 hours to restore peace and harmony to Aldridge Farm. Firstly, Nick explained about Jemima to Gwyneth and Wanda, through locked doors. Then Gwyneth telephoned Timothy to check Nick's facts. After she was satisfied with Timothy's answers, Nick was allowed to apologize to Wanda in her bedroom, with Gwyneth sitting next to her, looking fierce. Next, Wanda and Gwyneth analysed all aspects of everything Nick and Timothy had said about Jemima, 35 minutes, while Nick clarified with Timothy what Jemima had said to him, 3 minutes, and then they analysed a football match, Liverpool against Chelsea, which Timothy was watching on the television, 32 minutes. Eventually, Gwyneth came and spoke to Nick, and then telephoned Timothy again. Meanwhile, Wanda came downstairs to the kitchen and talked as Nick made everybody some cocoa. After finishing talking to Timothy, Gwyneth went to the kitchen to drink her cocoa with Nick, and Wanda went to the telephone to talk to Timothy about Friday and Lady Lois. Finally, the three of them stood around the telephone in the hall once again and talked to Timothy all together. Well, I'm glad that's all cleared up then, said Timothy. Let's summarise the plan for Friday then. Lady Lois, Nick and Wanda will arrive in London on Friday at about midday. We'll do the filming at the 2 Mill studio down near Bromley, just outside central London, on Friday afternoon and Saturday. As soon as it's finished, I'll drive back to the farm on Saturday afternoon with Lady Lois and Wanda, and Nick can take over again here in London. I'm so looking forward to getting back home. Nick didn't say anything. How will you deal with Jemima for the next 2 days? Gwyneth asked Timothy. No problem. She's going on a business trip to Paris and won't get back until late on Thursday night. Are you going to tell anybody about you and Nick changing places? Asked Wanda. I don't think so, said Timothy. I think it's best if they never find out. I agree, added Nick. Why make them feel stupid? They'll just get upset. They all said good night, and everybody went off to bed. Timothy fell asleep quickly, happy in the belief that his troubles were nearly over. But Nick lay awake for a long time and thought about the troubles that were rapidly approaching. Chapter 16. On Set. Wednesday and Thursday passed very quickly for Timothy and Nick. Nick spent a lot of time helping Wanda. Timothy had asked Wanda to practice getting Lady Lois to jump in and out of the Land Rover. Gwyneth said she had never seen anything funnier than Nick trying to push Lady Lois out of the back of the Land Rover the first time they tried. Lady Lois refused to move and went backwards until Nick fell out of the side door. Wanda finally managed to persuade her to cooperate by using carrots. Timothy was busy organising the filming together with his team and arranging for the computer specialists to be ready to work on the film over the weekend. On Friday morning, he found it difficult to be calm while he waited for the rescue team to return with Nick, Wanda and Lady Lois. The film crew were busy setting up all the equipment and running backwards and forwards. Jemima was inside with Derek, Carla and Hassan, checking final details. Ashley was sent to Devon with the rescue team. "I think it would be good if you were there, Ashley, to look after these important guests," Timothy explained. "Make sure they have everything they need." "But it's a goat. How can I look after a goat?" complained Ashley bitterly. "Carrots, Ashley. Organic carrots. Lady Lois is going to be a star." At 10 o'clock, Ashley telephoned Timothy to say that the rescue had worked well, except when Lady Lois was getting out of the boat. As she stepped onto dry land again after crossing the floodwater, she accidentally kicked the side of the boat, making him fall in. Timothy had to cough to cover up his laughing. Ashley sneezed and said he thought he had a cold. "You spend the weekend in bed, Ashley," said Timothy. "Make sure you're better for Monday. We've got a busy week ahead." It was early afternoon when the rescue team, without Ashley, finally arrived at the film studio just outside London. Timothy greeted everybody and then went with Nick into the horse box to see Lady Lois. Her happiness was difficult to control when she saw her Timothy, and he had to spend about 10 minutes stroking her to calm her down. The two men then changed clothes quickly and came out again, with Lady Lois dancing in excitement at having her Timothy back. Nick now took charge of Timothy, Wanda and Lady Lois and introduced them to everybody. "Gosh," said Jemima, "you really are incredibly similar. If you didn't have different clothes, I'm not sure I could tell who was who." She took a camera out of her handbag and photographed the two of them side by side. Muttered Wanda to Lady Lois. "You and I can smell the difference, can't we?" The goat just made a noise and ate another organic carrot. The film director looked at Lady Lois doubtfully and took Timothy to one side so Lady Lois couldn't hear. "Do you think this is going to work?" he asked Timothy. "Goats can be difficult." "Compared to Tanya Mishkovich," said Timothy, "she's like Mother Teresa." "Really? Did you hear what happened to your brother?" asked Jemima, who was listening to them. "I'm sure Lady Lois will be much less trouble." "Right, can you pay attention, please?" shouted the director suddenly. "Timothy, Lady Lois, Wanda, everybody get into position, please. Let's start." The work for Lady Lois, Timothy, Wanda, and the film crew was hard. Lady Lois did as Timothy and Wanda asked her, but the director was a perfectionist, and it took a long time to get everything just right. This gave Jemima the opportunity to have a serious talk with Nick. He tried to prevent the conversation becoming too personal by talking about Timothy and Wanda, but after a time she stopped him. "I'm not interested in this little goat girl Wanda. I'm surprised Gwyneth lets your brother travel up here with her. They seem to be very close friends. Did you see how Timothy helped her out of the car? He couldn't keep his hands or his eyes off her. I wouldn't trust her an inch if I were Gwyneth." Nick replied that Gwyneth and Timothy had an excellent marriage and that she and Wanda were very good friends. Well, yes, that's what you think, Nicholas. Then the next thing you know, they've run away together and poor Gwyneth is crying down the phone to you for hours. I know Wanda's type. But let's not talk about her. I want to talk about us. This work has brought us closer together again, don't you feel? She whispered. Why don't we go to Paris for the weekend? I found this lovely hotel in Montmartre. We could start again. I'm not sure, Jemima. I want to drive back with my brother to Devon this weekend, whispered Nick back, watching Wanda the whole time. Well, I could come too, couldn't I? Insisted Jemima. I'd love to meet your sister-in-law. As Dr. Susasu says, No, cut! Screamed the director. Tim, Wanda, can you ask Lady Lois not to eat the seatbelt, please? He walked over to where Jemima and Nick were sitting. And can you two take your discussion outside? I find it impossible to concentrate with the two of you whispering behind me all the time. Go and check on the catering or something. Now, back to work. Nick and Jemima went out to where the evening buffet was being laid out for the film crew in a large room next to the studio. For the next half an hour, Jemima was busy reorganizing everything. As she finished, the doors opened and 30 hungry people and a goat came in and headed towards the buffet and drinks table. I'd better help with milking Lady Lois, said Nick. But Jemima took his arm. Wait, Nicholas, I want to talk to you about what Dr. Susasu says. Nick panicked. This could go on forever, and he needed to talk to Wanda. Look, Jemima, I can't remember who this Sukasu's person is that you keep on talking about. Can we discuss it later? And before she could say anything else, he shook off her hand and nearly ran in the direction of the horse box, where he saw Wanda taking Lady Lois. So, I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. If you are enjoying it and you'd like to read the book or give it to a friend, you can buy a copy of Double Trouble on Kindle or a paperback copy from my website. Go to www.behindthebottomline.com and click on Bookshop. And I've still got 2 free copies left, which you can get with an autograph which will one day be worth thousands of dollars when Hollywood comes to buy the rights for Double Trouble from me. All you have to do is go to the Leave a Review section on my website, tell people what you think of Double Trouble, and send me a personal message with your address, and then I will send you your very own free signed copy. And just to remind you, that's on my website, www.behindthebottomline.com. Next week's episode is the last episode of Double Trouble and is called Jemima Finds Out. I think the title gives you an idea of what is about to happen, and I can promise you lots of fireworks. So, until next week, take care and goodbye.